Again, we've seen these bottoming signals play out very nicely. Again, I talked about the bottom over here and the bottom over here. A lot of different bottoming signals, and then that flip momentum, and now we're seeing some of the trend signals begin to turn back to bullish. They're not all there yet, but a lot of them are turning. If we can see it remain that way, then again, we can go challenge this other trend line, maybe try to get back above it. We'll see. About to get a bullish cross on the 50 and the 200 in the 4-hour time frame, but beautiful signals over here. Again, marked the top over here beautifully in January, over in December, and then the bottom over here went a little bit and undercut that level, but absolutely amazing signals. But we got to see the momentum continue with green and more things turning green if we're to go back and challenge the high at 109,000. Intraday, Bitcoin got that double bottom, and we had a 13.9 at the first bottom. That was followed by a 9 here intraday, and so far that's playing out. We'll see if Bitcoin can hold above the 200 in the daily time frame. But again, a lot of bottoming signals. We saw a lot of bottoming signals around these two bottoms here. But we're seeing signals try to turn back to bullish. They're not all there, but a lot of them are. We saw the bottoming signals, the momentum signals turn back to bullish, and now some of the trend signals are starting to try to turn back to bullish. Here, the line's turning back to green. The cloud is turning back to blue. It's been bearish ever since the December peak. Tried to flip it over here. You couldn't do it. Now we're trying to do it. So I'm seeing signals turn back to bullish one by one. Watch the video all the way through, and you'll see amazing signals and how many of them are turning back to bullish. Do yourself a favor, watch the video all the way through. You know what's going on. Continue to see a lot of bullish things happen. We've got the ribbon turning back to green here with the break above the 200 period moving average. Got the line turning back to blue here, again positive. Now we're trying to clear the cloud right here, and if we do, then that's going to be bullish for Bitcoin. I think some trend signals turn bullish, not quite here yet, but the momentum is bullish here. Still got to see more signals begin to flip back right here. We're at the upper end of the cloud, and we're just kind of going sideways. So again, do we pull back and or go higher and pull back? And again, on Trump's tariffs, end up forming a confirmation of a higher low or divergence. We already had these divergences develop on indicators. Do we end up getting a triple bullish divergence or confirmation of a higher low, or do we go higher and then again get a higher low? Are we in wave one of a 5-leg push higher that's eventually going to take us above the previous peak at 109,000? Again, do we get more volatility right here and now, or do we go higher and get more volatility? And then again, will this low hold? We'll be watching. The cloud's been bearish, could try to flip right here, or again, is there more work to be done? Seeing a lot of momentum turn back to bullish right here. We got the momentum flipping back to bullish here. Term swing move has turned back to bullish. Things are green here. Bars have turned back to green, so some positive things going on here. On a lot of my indicators, a lot of bullish things have happened. Can we build upon this breakout? We broke this downward trend line. Can we build upon this, or do we back test some more? But do we build upon this and go to the next trend line, get above the 50 and move towards the 100 period? Again, here's Bitcoin's average price. You lose that level, it's time, and can't get back above it. That's time to, and lose the 50 week. That's time to get extremely bearish on Bitcoin. A bounce here is extremely bullish. So again, do we go back and test that level more time? I think you got a good shot of it at the bottom if signals can remain bullish. But if my signals, which are correct, turn back to bearish, then we're going to go back and test that level. So I'm watching my signals closely. You're getting the 10 back above the 20 period moving average. This bull flag outlined in blue here going into the trend line from the 2023 lows we've talked about on the weekly chart. All kinds of bullish divergences form, and here you can see it right here. We're seeing indicators getting into positive territory with the break above the 200 period. So some positive things going on. Again, we're seeing signals turn back to green and blue. We're seeing the red go away. We're getting the background here turning back to green here. We had a bottoming signal here. Didn't get one here. Did on a lot of other indicators, but right here, that marked this area as a bottom. Over here, the tops marked a major top, and over here, and the bottom over here, did a good job. Again, we probably have a bottom in. Got to be able to clear the upper boundary of the bear flag in order to turn this around. My signals start turning back to bearish, then they're at risk of taking out the support zone and coming back and testing this low. All my signals end up turning back to bearish. The swing move is flat right now. Got to get above this area and start, clearing the trend line, the downward trend line of resistance back from these highs back over here. If we're going to, that would break us out of a bull flag, by the way. If we're going to and get us, we need to get back above that 100,000 area if we're going to turn this around. I think you're headed to get a test of the resistance zone up here. If we fail and can't reach that level, then the support zone is down here. And I've got all kinds of green going on. I talked about this. Again, we got back above the 200 period and we started seeing green bars. We started seeing green momentum. You've got the line turning back to blue and you've got the green going on here. So again, if that can remain, we can go higher and try to test this trend line or take it out. So we're flipping from all the red now to the green. Now we got to be able to remain that way. It can't be short-lived. Over here, we tried to flip it. It couldn't. And then it went back down here. It did flip. Everything did flip, but it was short-lived. We went up to 109,000, and then we were followed by another reversal. Got to flip it around. My signals can remain bullish. We can go higher. If we can break the downward trend line, we can go higher. They flip back to bearish, well, then we're at risk of taking out the 50-week moving average and Bitcoin's average price and forming a triple bullish divergence, getting something ugly. My guess is Bitcoin is going to go to make new highs. We just found out that BlackRock just bought another 108 million worth of Bitcoin where everybody's panicking. BlackRock is buying back. They sold at the top. Now they're buying back. Sold some of their position at the top. Won't do that. And we're going to go higher, and BlackRock's got, this is a preview of coming attractions. Okay, we're going to go higher, and then BlackRock, other big money and the whales, so into the rally. The herd won't do that. I accumulated a position around the 200 period moving average. As I've said, I'm going to ride it up, and I'm going to sell, and I'm going to flip the trade. That's what BlackRock is going to do. That's what the institutions are going to do. That's what the whales are going to do. But the herd, they're going to ride it up, slap each other on the back, and then they're going to ride it all the way back down. And Bitcoin's going to go back down and test 15,000 because we're going to move into recession. Bitcoin's never had a real official recession, that wasn't papered over like in 2020. We're going to have a real recession, and a wrecking ball is going to be taken to Bitcoin. Herd's going to celebrate as it goes higher, and then they're going to be crying all the way down. That's what the herd always does. Boys are going to be screaming, your Bitcoin, they just want your Bitcoin. Don't believe the FUD and all the other nonsense that these people say go down. I'm a trader. I really don't care if it goes up or down. I can make money in either direction it moves. I am a trader. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. When we reach my trend line, I'm going to get very bearish on Bitcoin. We've seen momentum turn back to bullish. We've seen some trend signals begin to turn back to bullish, but not all of them. There's more work to be done. We'll be watching to see if some of the longer-term trending signals start to change. If we rally to the downward trend line, that could happen. Here, I programmed the bars to change when the trend changes, and when they change, it means we're either going sideways or we're going up on the green bars. When they turn red, it means we're going sideways or we're going down. And again, nice calls. Here we tried to turn, we couldn't do it. Here we did briefly, and then it flipped back to bearish. Tried to flip it here, couldn't do it. You got to get the line turning blue, the background turning green, and the bars turning green, which we have right now. So that's positive. We had a breakout. We're getting a throwback. Maybe there's more work to be done here with a back test. We've got a possible bull flag, but again, we're about to get possibly a 50 crossing above the 200 on the 4-hour chart. So we'll be watching this trend line if we can continue onward and upward. Now we're starting to see signals begin to turn back to bullish with the breaking of the trend line and getting back above the 200 period. So again, we'll be watching, can that momentum continue, or is there more work to be done before going higher? Seeing bullish signal after bullish signal begin to form here as we're trying to make our way higher now. But again, we're seeing a lot of the bars turn back to green with the breakout and with the move back above the 200 period moving average. We can go higher. We can move back into the positive portion of the cloud, move back to test the trend line, trying to get a green bar right now as we have the Thursday session. Whether that'll happen or not, that depends on the close. But if we can go higher today or tomorrow, You can see the green bars reappear, move back into the positive portion of the cloud. Again, I told you about the bottoming signals back at the bottom here, back at the bottom over here. Then we saw the momentum line turn back to bullish. And now we're seeing the trend signals begin to try to turn back to bullish. But we got to take out the upper boundary here of the cloud to flip that around. But we're starting to see some signals begin to turn bullish. But we got to get the balance of power back into positive territory with the big move higher. The risk is we come back and we take out this low or test that low immediately. We might go higher and then get a pullback towards the declining trend line towards the 100 period moving average if we can continue the rally. So again, momentum still bullish. We'll see if we can continue. Again, good shot. We have a bottoming process that's either completed or about to complete. If we get one more push down, I think you got a good shot of a bottom here. But if the signals revert back to bearish, then the risk is that we go down and take out the previous low. But you got huge support down there. You know, if you take out that 50-week moving average and the 50 simple moving average and EMA, it's going to be very, very bearish. I think we bounce off these levels. And we had the bullish divergences form on so many indicators. Now we're back in positive territory here, getting back into the positive portion of the cloud here. We'll see what happens. May get a back test or end up trying to test this low. But again, I think you still got a good shot of that low holding, but you are seeing positive momentum. These divergences are playing out. Just like over here, we had these divergences play out and we had this rally. The rally ended up failing after getting a double top. Can we now have a little miniature double bottom here and see these bullish divergences begin to play out? Please support the channel with the link directly below. That allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the chart, you like the indicators, and you will, then please consider supporting the channel. Again, absolutely incredible indicators. Proven to be correct 97.1% of the time. I don't have any sponsors. I don't want to send you to exchanges that want to get you all leveraged up to wipe you out. I just ask that you support the channel. Do what you can to help out. But I need to hear from you. Again, it takes a lot of time and effort to do this. I just show you stuff I look at every day. But I need your help. I need you to partner with me. Anything helps. Let me know that you want me to do this. Let me know this information is valuable to you. And if you watch the video all the way through, you will like this information. Amazing indicators, stuff you're not going to see anywhere else. So follow the link below to take you to a secured site, and you can donate any amount you want, or you can make it a recurring donation. If you do that, I thank you. Thank you for your consideration for that. And again, the only reason why I ask that is because, again, most channels sell you things and get sponsors. They contact me all the time. I turn it down. I don't want to do that. Sell you anything. Thank you for your consideration for that. Here is the 4-hour chart. Again, Bitcoin's got the bull flag going on. Here, this one, you know, I was attacked over here when Bitcoin was bottoming. Bitcoin was going to rally back up to the 200 period. What happened? Bitcoin rallied back up to the 200 period. Told by the bears that that wasn't going to happen. And the herd said, no, we're just going to fall off a cliff and that's it. Bitcoin's in a bottoming process. I think you likely have a double bottom here. These divergences on the 4-hour chart and the daily time frame. But here we've broken this decelerated trend line. Again, maybe we get a bigger back test to it. Right now we're trying to form another bull flag. Okay? And again, if we can break out of the bull flag, then you have this other trend line going back to these highs right here. That's the upper boundary of the bull flag on Bitcoin that we're bouncing off of at key support on the trend line from the 2023 low and our 50-week moving average. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? If we push higher, again, we could stall at the trend line and then pull back. Possible. Okay, and that may be surrounding Trump's tariffs. Maybe we could get that. And, you know, the possibility is we bust on through this area and then we end up back testing the trend line. Okay, so we'll be watching. And again, I've excluded this trend line. Maybe we exclude the shadows here and it's more like this trend line right here. And we get something like that. Very, very possible. I'm just excluding the shadow and it's perfectly parallel. These two highs up here, perfectly parallel in the daily time frame, forming that bull flag pattern. So again, another bull flag here. We'll see what happens. You got a possible rising wedge. Everybody's saying we have a bear flag right now. We don't have a bear flag. You have a rising wedge right now, at least so far. But maybe we're bouncing right now off of this trend line. And right now off of the 200. And as we're doing this, look at this, the 50 is about to get above the 200, which means we're probably going to see something like that happen, where it goes higher. Now, I don't know if it goes that high, but back up towards the high 90,000 area, but I think eventually we will move above that level. But again, do we see a massive move? You know, Trump has started to walk back the April 2nd tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs a little bit, saying, oh, there might be some leniency and auto tariffs. Seeing, you know, Bitcoin and the stock market rattled a little bit about that over the last 2 days, but the market's not collapsing on it. And that's what happened in 2018. The market, we had the Trump's tariffs in 2018. We had volatility surrounding it, but then the market eventually just shrugged it off and ended up going higher. Do we see the same thing? Or do we see Europe come to the negotiating table? Canada come back to the table, or the new leadership come back and negotiate? Mexico, other countries. You know, I unbelievable how other countries feign this phony outrage about Trump's tariffs and how they're going to cause a recession and they're going to cause inflation. But these countries that are feigning outrage have worse tariffs than Trump. You know, Trump's just doing reciprocal tariffs, trying to level the playing field. These leaders in these other countries, and it's absolutely incredible. They feign outrage for Trump's tariffs, but their tariffs even worse than Trump's. Worse offenders, and that's all Trump is trying to do. I'm no fan of tariffs. I like free trade, but why, if these countries don't want Trump's tariffs, why don't they just simply remove their tariffs and this whole issue would go away? You know, Europe, they love the tariffs placed on U.S. products going into Europe. They hate the tariffs on European exports going into the United States. They don't like that. It's the old rules for thee, but not for me. See what happens, but I told you again, Trump might walk this back. We might see Europe and others come to the negotiating table here. We'll be watching. If you're on this bull flag, again, we might get closer to a back test. I don't know if it plays out. We'll see what happens. This might not be done, but the 50 is about to get above the 200 here. And again, we might see a divergence develop here on the RSI. We might get a push back up on the RSI, end up forming a divergence that might take us to this trend line or beyond that trend line, so I'll be watching that. Now, look, we still have Bitcoin with a bullish reversal of conditions. We're seeing more and more signals turn back to bullish. We've seen momentum turn back to bullish, and then other signals have now followed. The risk is that they revert back to bearish and that we get a triple divergence. We had a divergence develop on the awesome oscillator here on the daily chart. We saw the same thing on the RSI and the MACD. We saw these divergences develop. The risk is that we, again, either pull back further and get a confirmation of a higher low, or another reference point of a divergence surrounding next week with the coming reciprocal tariffs coming next Wednesday. Bitcoin continues to hold above the 200 period moving average, and we're bouncing off of it here with Bitcoin futures. We got back above it with the Bitcoin price, and we continue to have bullish momentum, a bullish reversal of conditions here. Then Bitcoin can go higher. I think Bitcoin's got a good shot that it's bottom, but if it hasn't, the bearish scenario would be that we form another reference point of a divergence and that we quickly bottom. Major support directly underneath Bitcoin, but wanted to continue to point this out, that we have this bullish reversal of conditions. We've been red ever since back over here. We tried to flip it right here and it immediately failed. And again, at the 20 period moving average, and we've been failing at the 20 period, the blue line there ever since. Now we're above the 20 period, the 10's above the 20 period. So again, going to be watching. Does the awesome oscillator just move on into positive territory? Does the MACD just move on into positive territory? And that's the end of it with this bullish divergence over here. Is that the end of it? Or pull back further and get a higher low? Signals all begin to turn back to bearish. Or again, do we take out this low over here and end up forming a triple bullish divergence? Major support. We are just above major support with our low from March 11th, which was the Bitcoin price, 76,600. Look at the weekly chart. Again, we've had this sell-off. We've seen the bearish momentum in the weekly time frame. We're bouncing off the 50-week moving average here with the futures, the Bitcoin futures, and with the Bitcoin price. I've talked about this. I think is what you're going to see happen is I think we're going to end up seeing a divergence develop here on the awesome oscillator in the weekly time frame over the next several weeks, going on into a few months. So April, May, or it can drag on into the summer, June, July, August, on into the summer somewhere, possibly the early fall. And end up forming a massive divergence. It was this little divergence right here that has given us this sell-off of 30%. It is likely we're going to form a larger divergence, and we'll probably see it on the MACD as well and the RSI. I've talked about this in the weekly time frame on the RSI with the Bitcoin price. So this is what I'm looking at, but we got to get back above the 10-week moving average, the 20-week moving average, and again, see a bullish reversal of conditions here to flip this around. Last time we bottomed out was at 49,000 on the Bitcoin price, and that was at this 50-week moving average, and right here the higher low at 52,000. Again, I think you're doing the same thing here, and I think you're going to see this massive negative divergence begin to develop on Bitcoin in the weekly time frame. Then I think Bitcoin will top, but I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is likely bottomed. The risk is we go down and test the low one more time, but I do think that Bitcoin is going to end up going a lot higher. I think Bitcoin could go to 135 to 145,000. If we take our time reaching the trend line I'm talking about, we can go above 150,000. Here quickly, maybe just under 135,000. Again, a number's not my target. The trend line's my target. How quick we reach it? Well, I don't know the future. I look at, I'm a trader. I look at support and resistance levels. Bitcoin's gone nowhere for months now. It's gone sideways. So again, that has given Bitcoin more time, which means Bitcoin is going to go higher. And reach the trend line, previously it would have been a lot lower. Bitcoin could go, above 150,000 if it takes its time reaching the trend line. So again, looking for this divergence to develop here in the weekly time frame on Bitcoin with the awesome oscillator, MACD, and the RSI. And the S&P is doing exactly the same thing. So is the NASDAQ, exactly the same thing. Are we going to see some red here? Are we going to just see the awesome oscillator go into positive territory? Are we going to see some red and end up forming a divergence and undercut this low? Same thing I'm talking about with Bitcoin. If we remain with the bullish reversal of conditions, we're just coming back to fill the gap, then we can go onward and upward and get above the 200 period. We just like Bitcoin, we got above it and then we stalled out and we dropped back below it. Bitcoin did the same thing. Bitcoin's holding above it right now, but same thing here with the awesome oscillator in the weekly time frame for the S&P. It's a Thursday session. Bitcoin has less than 5 hours left of trading in the session. We were up, then we were down, and now we're barely, we're pretty much flat. We're up 0.40% at the moment. Again, I told you we could backtest the trend line. In doing so, Bitcoin's forming a little tiny bull flag over the last couple of days here. So again, we had a bull flag back over here. Remember that? We backtested. We got above the 200 and then we back tested it. We dropped under and everybody was, I'm going to die. And Bitcoin's going to go lower. It's over. And again, it was a bull flag. Now, we continue to have those that tell us that we have this bear flag, which again, it's not a bear flag. It's a rising wedge, possible rising wedge. Let's get our patterns straight. You get all these people on the internet saying, we have a bear flag. It's not a bear flag. If you play connect the dots, it's a rising wedge. If that pattern is canceled out, this little bull flag goes up here, we can stall at the trend line and this pattern can play out. We can end up getting a bigger pullback or, again, come back and test this low, even if we go higher, if we stall at this trend line. If we blow on past this trend line and this upper boundary of the rising wedge, not the bull flag, then again, is what you might do is move towards the 100 period moving average, move towards the resistance zone right here, and then you might try to back test the breakout of the trend line. And that would really pretty much cancel out that pattern. Now it could evolve into a bear flag if we do that. If we go up here like that, it could. But again, we have to see that pattern play out with the break of this trend line, break back below the 200 period, taking out the support zone. So again, a lot of things would have to happen in order for that to play out. But again, the bullish divergence, I told you over here, Again, I thought you had a good shot at the bottom, but if I told you if we got rejection at the 20 period, couldn't get back above it, then you're going to end up forming a larger divergence. We had a little divergence there, did get rejection at the 20 period, came back down, and again, the buyers were here. Now, we just had MicroStrategy, I guess now called Strategy, another purchase. Now we're having BlackRock. Saw some big whale made a big purchase of Bitcoin. Again, well, the herd is freaking out. Okay, I saw one moon boy. Who's selling Bitcoin? Professional money is, because the moon boys ride it up even higher. You know, up here. I mean, I talk about this. You know, when I was calling these tops over here, the moon boys were telling us, and the herd, no way we're going down, and yet we went down. The professional money, the institutions, they're selling into the rally, and then they're reloading up here, and they're going to run it up again, and then they're going to sell into the rally again. And well, the herd starts telling us when we get up to the 135, 145, 150,000 area, wherever we hit that trend line, weekly time frame, then the herd's going to be telling us, and the moon boys, here we go, we're off to 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, 750,000. No, $1 million. I saw this one guy on the internet, social media, he has us reaching $2 million in the next few weeks. I mean, that's how out of touch with reality these people are. Okay, I have a reasonable target, a resistance level that is likely going to be reached, and then Bitcoin's likely going to be top. These crazy targets and they got it all out. If I say Bitcoin's going to go to 200,000, well, that's already been said. So I've got to outdo the next guy. A bunch of hype and hopium. Don't be one of those people. I'm a trader. I trade Bitcoin back and forth. I really don't care if it goes up or down. It goes up and it goes down. Herd, they only believe Bitcoin goes up, and that's why they're so depressed right now. And that they got so bearish down here, and that's why I got so bullish down here. And this was, again, another great opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin. I want to do the opposite of what the herd does. Now, we're still stalling at the horizontal resistance, and I've talked about this. We're at the January low. We got to be able to clear that level. We're just under the 50 period. We have the downward trend line, which is the upper boundary of the bull flag. So again, we got some things to watch. But we are bouncing right here off of the 50-week moving average in the weekly time frame. In the daily time frame, we were just above Bitcoin's average price. These are major levels of support. We start breaking the 50-week and breaking the trend line from the 2023 low, then that's going to be extremely bearish. I think we could come up here and test the 100 period. Now, I'm a big believer in the 100 period. Bitcoin follows the 100 period moving average. We lost it over here. We back tested it, and we are holding below it. Again, we're probably going to come up and test it, dance around it. Eventually, I think you're going to get back above it and go back up and test the 109,000 high. And again, blowing past the 100,000 area of resistance here in the high 90,000 range and the 100,000, the low 100,000 area. This is some resistance right here. You got to be able to break above this trend line. This trend line, okay, we broke out. We're trying to back test it. Maybe there's more work to be done. We'll see. But if we can bounce off the 200, bounce here, and you got a bull flag, then we can go higher and challenge this other trend line in the 50 and the 100 period moving average. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? It's possible we get a bigger back test. The stochastics rolling over. It may remain at extremes for an extended period of time, but again, going into Trump's tariffs on April 2nd next week, it's possible we still have some volatility, and that's why I'm showing you again. But I think you got major support here, and again, could we go higher and then pull back? Could we go higher ahead of Trump's tariffs and then pull back, or do we end up dropping back below the 200? We'll be watching. Again, I remain bullish on Bitcoin. I think you got a good shot of a bottom. The RSI is now breaking above 50. We got to get that MACD back in a positive territory if we're going to go higher. Bitcoin's bouncing off the 50-week moving average and the 2023 trend line, going back over here. Again, you break this level, that's extremely bearish. You have a bull flag into that trend line. You're bouncing off of it. We're trying to confirm now, follow through to that bottoming tail at the 50-week. The RSI is trying to get back up above 50 to reaffirm the bullish 50-50 signal, which is what happened back over here when we bounced up the 50 at 49,000 and 52,000 there in August and September. This is what happened back over here In the sideways consolidation, we bounced out the 50, and that really began that trend line, that 2023 trend line, got the RSI back above 50. So again, looking to see, do we reaffirm the 50-50 signal by the end of this week with that RSI getting back above the 50? Again, I am extremely bullish on Bitcoin. If we lose this area, we lose the 50, and we drop below the trend line, we stay below it, that's extremely bearish. But a bounce and reaffirming the 50-50 signal, getting above the 50 level on the RSI, bouncing off of the 50 period moving average, that is bullish. Here it is in the daily time frame. Again, you got your bull flag here into this 2023 trend line. We're back above the 200. Again, maybe we pull back and get another higher low with Trump's tariffs coming into place. But again, people dismiss as, hey, gee, when if we end up seeing negotiations happen? Oh, no, Trump's going to slap the tariffs on, and Europe's going to put retaliatory tariffs, and Trump's going to do more and we're just going to have a trade war. You think Europe really, really wants to go into recession right now? You really believe this? I mean, that's really being pretty naive, don't you think? What happened with Canada? Trump slapped on the tariffs with the aluminum and steel on Canada because Canada has extremely high tariffs on the United States. Trying to level the playing field. Canada, then they put on this energy surcharge for energy going into the United States, and Trump said, okay, we're going to double the tariffs, 50%. Have fun. Canada immediately caved. Now they've got, leadership over there now, and they've got an election coming up. So again, they started to talk about negotiations there, and it kind of stalled because of all the change in leadership over there right now. So again, Canada immediately caved, and they put a stop to those tariffs because, again, and you think Europe's not going to cave? Germany's got terrible GDP for quarter after quarter after quarter. If Europe doesn't come into the negotiating table, they're going to have a very, very bad recession. We're all still going to have a recession because the recession indicators are flashing. Europe doing that would be putting themselves, putting the final nail in the coffin. Again, you've got horizontal support here. You've got Bitcoin's average price. You've got the trend line. You've got the 50-week moving average and the EMA. I think you're going to break out of the bull flag and get one more push higher. Again, we still may flirt with this area. Maybe we get a diversion, so we try to take out this level, go under 76,600 and hit horizontal support here. This high is just under 74,000. Possible. But my guess is it's more likely Bitcoin's bottoming right here. And again, my indicators would all begin to turn bearish if that is going to be the case. Bullish divergence is more likely to play out and get us back above that 50 period moving average and back above the declining trend line eventually.